This is Matt Freen, 2 Boxing. Delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn. Eddie, before we kick this off, talk to me about the finger.
Yeah,
Frank Smith's done a job on you, hasn't he?
Yeah, I hit his elbow in the spar and it really hurt. And then afterwards, I was like, I knew I've done something bad here. But I've given it like 5 or 6 weeks. It hasn't got better. And then I thought I've got to go to a specialist. Went to a specialist. They X-rayed it, and they said you've completely snapped your bone in your finger. So you can either like live with it and it'll be bent forever, or you can have an op. But you need one, and you've got to have 3 or 4 screws in it and a wire going through it. I mean, it's the most embarrassing thing, and it's not even a story I want to tell because it's Frank Smith. Like if it was a big lump, right, that I did it in the second round, went 6, it's a bit of a story. But when I tell this story when I'm older, I'm not going to be able to mention that it was against Frank Smith, but everyone's seen it anyway.
Well, I heard you in the interview before, the one before that, you called yourself a warrior. Yeah, well, is that even worse?
It happened in the second round. I went 6, but this is what you do in a fight game. You've either got it or you haven't, and obviously I'm tough enough to carry on.
Up there with the elite, I'm sure. Huge fight card. Conor Benn goes against Chris Van Heerden. You've often talked about this leading on to a huge fight in the summer. Now, recently I've seen Adrian Broner's back in camp. I know that was someone you were looking to match Conor up with before. Any legs in that? Is that someone you'd consider still?
We've made Adrian Broner a couple of offers. Look, he's a big name, very entertaining, a little bit unreliable, but I don't think he'll take that fight against Conor Benn. But you know, a Danny Garcia, a Mikey Garcia, Maurice Hooker was the opponent that was locked in for this show. Yeah. But you know, he didn't want the fight in the end because he had a little back injury. So these are all really good fights for Conor. This is a tough fight. And I said to Conor, take it as a compliment that people are all of a sudden putting you as a massive favourite against this guy, because a year ago no one even rated you. Now they're seeing you as an elite welterweight. Chris Van Heerden, you see the size of him? He's a big, strong man. He's in tremendous shape, very experienced. Southpaw, the first of Conor Benn's career, and that's important because you can't go into an Errol Spence fight or that level being the first Southpaw you've ever faced. So this is all part of the development of what I believe is a future global star of the sport.
You just mentioned Errol Spence there. How far do you think Conor is off facing the likes of him? Because you mentioned this fight before, big fights, but how big is he a couple off that level, or would you be comfortable shoving him in there with an Ugas or Spence now?
Ugas I would put him in with now. Honestly, like he fancies that fight. And I believe Ugas will get beat by Spence at the weekend. Spence and Crawford, Jaron Ennis, these guys are they're another level in my opinion at the moment for Conor. But he's only 2 or 3 fights away, because then who else do you fight? But you know, you've got to be careful, because I could make Terence Crawford against Conor Benn now for the summer. Yeah. Wrong fight, wrong time. But Conor Benn would make several million, and he would quite like that. But you've got to back yourself in life. You've got to believe in yourself. You can't sell yourself out and make the wrong move when you have a journey in front of you and a road that's already paved for you to walk down. You just got to keep winning and keep working hard. And that's what Conor Benn is doing. Like if Conor Benn had bad work ethic, listen, the only reason I made Kell Brook against Gennady Golovkin was because Kell Brook's career could be over at any time. And there was no money fights out there for him. He needed a fight that would secure him for life. And you know what I thought? He's a massive welterweight. The middleweights won't even be a big problem for him. He's got loads of skill, but it's there. We can't make a unification fight. Do you want this fight? I would never do that for Conor Benn, because he's in the gym every day. He's going to give me 110%. He's not going to go out. He's not going to eat bad. He's not going to balloon in weight. He's dedicated. But at the same time, it's very tempting to make a fight for a load of money. Yeah. Because that's what the sport's about for these guys, to make sure they can finish their career being secure. But I would say let's just get the progression right. And he listens, and Tony knows as well. Yeah. So it's one fight at a time, and then we reassess after every challenge.
Interesting times for Conor. Another fighter that looks like he's coming to the end of his contract, Gervonta Davis. Spoke to Frank Smith about this. He said obviously you'd be interested. What's your thoughts on that? Obviously it seems like there's a bit of a fractious relationship at the minute between him and Floyd, but with the zones back in, that must be someone you look at and think, geez, let's try and get him on.
Yeah, it doesn't look good at the moment, does it, between them all? But who knows? Look, if Gervonta Davis is out of contract, we'll be all over him like a rash, you know, and we'll be making him a huge offer to join the zone. I know Gervonta. I'm a big fan. He's a tremendous fighter. But I'm sure he'll talk to everyone. But you know, he's a big star of the sport, and if it's true, if he's out of contract, we'd love to talk.
Dillian Whyte finally broke his media silence the other day. Interesting. Do you think that's just him fulfilling an obligation, or do you think
he said that? You know, I think it will be a little bit of give and take. Yeah. So it will be, you know what you promised me I'm going to have. If you give me those, I'll do that thing next week. You know, or that. It's how it's going to be. So I spoke to him yesterday. He's ready to go. You know, I think he's had a great camp and ready to fight.
He spoke well, I thought, yesterday on the Zoom. He looks like he gave us a quick muscle flex. He looks like he's been working hard out there. This is a huge moment for him. I know this is not an event that you're running, but how pleased are you to see him get his shot for something that he's been waiting years for? Because you've had a good relationship.
Yeah, I've still got a good relationship with him. I know how important it is to him. It's a bit like Devin Haney. You know, when you work with that person, you know what their dream is. When they achieve that dream, or the chance to achieve that dream, you back them whatever the situation. And with Dillian, we've had his back for years and years and years, and he's had our back. So we'll always support him and respect each other. And I hope he wins. It's going to be a very tough fight, but he's prepared himself the best way he can for the fight.
What's your role for next week? Because I can't believe we're going to have Dillian Whyte in London all week and you're not going to pop up either in his corner or doing something. You sorted this situation out, because I'm sure Bob Arum said ages ago, if he wants to come to the fight, he knows he can come to the fight.
Yeah,
so what?
Might be up in the stands.
So what are you doing? Are you going to be there?
I don't. I mean, look, Dillian will have a number of credentials for his corner, for his team and massage. Unless he says to me, I want you in the changing room, then I'll be watching at home. You know, I'll meet up with Dillian probably next week, and I'll be behind him all the way. But you know, I'm not looking to sort of rock up and steal a bit of limelight and go, hi guys, I'm here. I'm here to support him in any way. We've supported him in the build-up in some respects. Yeah. We've supported him a lot in ongoing matters that are going on in his career. Yeah. And any way he wants my support next week, he can count on it.
I'm looking on Twitter and I put out a thing saying, look, I might be speaking to Eddie in a day or two. Fire your questions in, a few quite obvious ones. But Marley Wright commented, Marley was on the Leeds show, and he says, what's next for Josh Warrington? And then he also asked and said, Ryan Garcia, is he open to coming to Yorkshire for Maxi Hughes? I hope that. And he said, and if he knocks someone out next, will you send him a contract? So take them all three.
I like Marley. He's a good fighter. He needs to just trim down a little bit. Came in a bit heavy for that last fight, in my opinion. But you know, got rid of that draw on his record. Maxi Hughes, I'm just grafting away for the big fight. Hopefully, it can be.
Please make that fight in Yorkshire.
I can. And of course, Josh Warrington, you know, broke his jaw in that fight. I think November is really when we're going to see him again. Like to make him in a straight unification, whether that's against Navarrete or Lee Wood. You know, sort of he saved his career, he changed his career, whatever you want it to be that night. So you know, it was worth the injuries.
People asking about Ben Whittaker, highly touted GB. I can imagine he's speaking to absolutely everyone. What's your take on it? Are you in talks with him? You want to sign him? It's a bit hot in here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hot. It's like this. I mean, I think that Ben Whittaker's an extraordinary talent. We've had the chance to sign all Olympians. You know, at some point, them or their agent had come to us and said, look, if you pay this, you got him. And we've had to say no, yes, when it comes to Galal Yafai, the gold medalist. And now we're in the same sort of situation with Ben Whittaker. If I'm looking at someone who has the potential to become a star, who has the ability to become a star, whether we get him or not, I don't mind telling you that I think he's the guy. So, you know, I think Ben Whittaker has got all the attributes to become a big star. So we will be, you know, and in the others, we backed out of the race for them. We won't back out of the race for Ben Whittaker, but we might not get him. So we'll see, but I do rate him very highly.
Alicia Bomgardner's on this card, looks like an absolute superstar. Talk to me about what the plan is for her. When I speak to her, she's like, the Mayer fight's huge, let's build it, let's get a belt from Choi, then fight Mayer. But the fans seem to be wanting the Mayer fight now, and I know we don't get it all when we want, but
that's the fans' job. You know, they don't want to wait, they don't want to build, and that fight can be made now. She's right, in 6 months' time, 9 months' time, that fight will be even bigger, but I like Alicia in that fight, and I really rate Mayer. I think she's a great talent, but Baumgardner is very confident, punches very hard. She is a superstar in the making, there's absolutely no doubt about that. The Choi fight's one we'd love to make. Obviously she's contracted to Matchroom, but it's just tying her down for that unification, so we'll have to see.
Ebony Bridges, obviously I know she's got a hand injury, spoke to her earlier. What's next for her? Obviously everyone talks about a Courtney rematch, but will she be looking at unifying depending on what happens?
She likes the Dina Thorsland fight, you know, that's a great fight. Obviously you've got Jamie Mitchell as well, that's known to the UK fans. Shannon Courtney's got the Mitchell rematch if she wants it. She's going to have an 8-rounder in June. I like the Bridges fight because I think it's a big fight, her and Shannon Courtney, the rematch. So, you know, we'll see, and I'll put all the options to Ebony, and it'll be up to her. She's the champ.
Someone asked, hot or cold milk on your Weetabix? I know this is one that's...
Weetabix, hot.
Yeah.
But all other cereal, cold.
Yeah, good on.
Porridge.
Other than porridge, yeah, exactly. Canelo will be in Vegas in a couple of weeks. Talk to me about that fight. If he gets past Bivol, are we looking at jumping in with Triple G in September time, sir?
Yeah, we are. I mean, that fight's already agreed, so he just needs to win, obviously, in May. It's a tough fight, this Bivol fight. Really tough
People
fight.
are overlooking him a bit, aren't they?
Massively, because there's no blueprint to beating Dimitri Bivol, right? And Dimitri's never got the fights that he's really wanted, other than Joe Smith, who he beat easily, who's now WBO world champion. This is a really tough fight for Canelo Alvarez, I promise you. But I spoke to him last night and he said, I'm getting ready. And then he said, no, sorry, I'm ready. So he can't wait. Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas, this is like bucket list stuff for me to promote Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. So, I can't wait.
Me neither. Talk to us about Anthony Joshua. A lot of talk about his broadcaster situation. I know DAZN would love to have him. It seems every time Adam Smith speaks, he seems confident Sky will have him. Where are we at with it? Are we close to announcement, or do you know anything more?
We'll get the fight announced first, and then we've had offers which we've reviewed from Sky with 258. We've had offers which we've reviewed with 258 from DAZN and other platforms. Got a good relationship with Sky. It's a great pay-per-view platform. But the priority right now is to nail the fight, and then the deal will follow.
What do you make of Alexander Usyk? A lot of talk about his weight and in camp, and I was a bit.
To lose 22 pound in a week. I mean, I'm not sure that was reported correctly, but anyway, he's fine. He's in training camp. There's a long way to go to the fight, and I'm sure he'll be fine.
Eddie, thanks for talking to Into Boxing, and I'll see you in Vegas.
Thank you.